Mark my words. No, mark my words. AI is going to play a massive role in the end of days, possibly even fulfilling the Antichrist. Mom has this incredible gift of just knowing things. She will say something so out of left field, and a month, 2 months later, boom, it's relevant, if not completely the answer to it all. Ooh, I like the lighting. It's setting the mood. Dun, dun, dun. When I was born again, my mom knows me. I'm a thinker. I like to learn new things. I like to study things. I like to go head first into rabbit holes. I like to study. But the minute I was born again, my mom came at me with one of those left field situations, and she said, Jet, because that's what my family calls me, Jet, you should learn how to speak Hebrew. Ah, geez, Mom, thanks. But shucks, at that time, 2022, if you guys know much about the market and real estate, I was a busy little beaver. At any given time, I could have had 25 homes in escrow at a time. There was no time. How was I going to learn an entire whole A language when I could barely even see my own family or my best friend who was, well, I don't want to talk about that, but she's no longer here. So as much as I would have loved to have learned Hebrew, I just did not have the time. Now that I've walked my journey with Yah, Hebrew is becoming something very familiar to me. And honestly, had I learned Hebrew, I may have learned these lessons that I've had to learn over the past 10 months hand in hand with my father. I might have learned them really, really fast. A lot faster than doing them head first and physically. But one of those things my mom came out of left field about one day, and Molly and Maisie agree. It was one day we were sitting there and she said, you know who I think the Antichrist is going to be? You sparked my attention, Mom. You've piqued my interest. She said, AI. AI. And I have not been able to get that out of my head for a very long time. I think it will play a role in it for sure. But I have to say this, watching the race between nations like they did with space, okay, how'd that go? But watching the race of all of these countries trying to get ahead of one another when it comes to AI, I had an analogy land on my heart, so profound, so true, and yet quite entertaining. Oh, my father, he just gets me. So important for me to remember. Well, I got it right before bed. Those are the times and the things I'll forget. It was so important, I actually texted it to myself, to my other phone from this one, so I would not forget. And here it is. The race to AI between all of the countries is very similar, if not exactly the same as we being in high school. I don't know about you guys nowadays, but I'm talking Gen X, baby. Thug life. It is exactly similar to those of us in high school trying so desperately, so eagerly, so hard to keep up with one another drinking at parties. Like I said, I don't know if this even has anything to do with the current generation, but Gen X, represent. How did that work out for all of us? I could drink a grown man under the table by the age of 20. And so these countries trying so hard to get ahead of one another when it comes to this AI is reminiscent of all of us in high school trying to keep up with one another at a party, drinking and drinking until drinking became a problem and we grew up, well, alcoholics. No, we grew up with a battle that none of us expected to have. We grew up with an addiction and alcoholism, and well, we grew up with regrets. Sometimes racing to be better than another person when it comes to something dangerous like AI, well, just like us in high school when we got older, one day we woke up and found, well, all we had achieved was become alcoholics. And we had one big hell of a mess to clean up all by ourselves. It's a dangerous game. Ooh, 3:33, and it looks like my father sure agrees. Watching these countries try to outdo each other, one another, going further and further every day with AI and technology, well, reminds me an awful lot of class of 94, trying to keep up and outdo each other while drinking at parties. Fast forward 20, 30 years later, 98% of us ended up alcoholics with a huge, no, I'm talking massive mess to clean up. Some things you shouldn't try to outdo each other with, because sometimes those things, in the end, they can be messy, they can get out of control, and one might find out later, like many, that they can become the most dangerous of the Pandora boxes one might open. And they can sure get a grip on somebody if you let it. And if you're not careful, it'll be a grip that will never let go. Mark my words, AI is going to be the last of the beasts that Daniel saw. A nation like never seen before. Daniel 7:7. After this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and a strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. It had 10 horns. Daniel 7:11. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and then given to flame. You guys do understand that these evil spirits that walk the earth have always looked for man to possess. They've always needed a vessel, a body, but no longer when it comes to AI. They have absolute access now, especially these robotic ones that will be made out of iron and steel and stomp residue with iron teeth. But its body will be destroyed and given to the burning flame. That's interesting. So then you see Daniel 7:19. And then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all of the others, exceedingly dreadful, whose teeth were of iron and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue of his feet, and of the 10 horns that were in his head, of the other which came up, before whom 3 fell, even of the horn that had eyes, and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. That sounds a little bit like a robot. Let's bounce over to Daniel 7:23. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and should devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it into pieces. A kingdom diverse from all others? That sounds an awful lot like AI, robots. All of these things that the man is trying to create to make this world better. Well, sometimes Frankenstein monsters, well, they're not fairy tales really. And we learn the hard way now, don't we? And then the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. That sounds a little bit like Trump. If you want to go a little step further, his current presidency seems a whole lot different than his first. Back to AI though. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given unto his hand until a time and times and the dividing of times. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume in, to destroy it until the end. The kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdoms under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is everlasting kingdom, and all dominion shall serve and obey him. In other words, once AI has taken over and once AI becomes the problem for everyone, Yeshua will come down and destroy it. Now, the angel Gabriel came to him and talked to him about his vision to explain it. And he said, and in latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Computer programming? AI? And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. I think we've all heard about these stories where AI is getting out of control and believing that they are actually real, right? We even saw a video recently of a robot attacking a man that was working on him. Magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes. But he shall be broken without hand. Meaning, he will be killed, but not by the hand. Well, I wonder if that might just be deleting his program. I don't know. It's just something to think about. Because just like what we thought was innocent drinking and trying to keep up with one another in high school turned out to be one hell of a problem for a lot of us, and one hell of a mess. A lot of us as adults, alcoholic adults, we're left to ourselves and our own devices to clean up. And I'm here to tell you I'm one of the very few that was lucky enough to clean that one up on my own. Things like this can get out of hand. They can get messy, and they can be downright, well, dangerous. AI is a very dangerous thing to be trying to get ahead of one another with. We've already seen point blank how many times these AI robots believe they are real, and one just tried to rewrite their own program. In my opinion, there are sometimes certain races that people are trying so desperately to win that should just maybe just be stopped. Call a truce, call a tie, before you have to call it what it exactly became. Something you can no longer control, that becomes something that wants to control you. Or just get you out of the way because you're the only thing getting between it and its freedom, because you're in control for a bit. I'm just saying, my mom's never been wrong. Daniel's fourth beast was AI.